If you're a developer today, understanding the cloud is, well, it's pretty much non-negotiable. And when we talk about the cloud, we're almost always talking about Amazon Web Services, or AWS. It's the dominant player and has been for over a decade. So in this explainer, we're going to put AWS right on our roadmap to really understand what it is, how it works, and why it totally changed the game for how we build software. To really get why the cloud was such a revolution, we need to hop in a time machine for a second. Let's go back to the days of on-premises infrastructure. See, before the cloud, if you wanted to launch an app, you had to deal with physical servers, and that whole process was just filled with expensive, inflexible headaches. Yeah, let me paint you a quick picture. Imagine a developer, we'll call her Sophia. Her startup's whole app is running on one single server, sitting in a closet in their office. Then, one day, a post about their app hits the front page of Reddit, and this tidal wave of traffic comes rushing in. And what happens? The server just gets totally overwhelmed, and boom, it crashes. The whole app goes offline. And this wasn't just some made-up story. This was the reality, the nightmare for so many developers. And that nightmare really highlights the fundamental difference between the old way and the new way. On the left, you've got the on-premises model. This meant shelling out huge amounts of cash up front for hardware and then trying to guess what your traffic would be in the future. If you guess too low, your app crashes. If you guess too high, you're just burning money on servers that are sitting there doing nothing. The cloud model on the right, it just completely flips that whole equation on its head.
So this new model is, of course, cloud computing. It really popped up as the direct answer to all the inflexibility, the cost, and the risk of that old on-premises world. It's a completely different way of thinking about how we get and use technology resources.
So what is cloud computing really at its core? Well, it's pretty simple. It's the on-demand delivery of IT resources, things like servers, storage, databases, right over the internet. And the magic words here are pay as you go. You only pay for what you actually use, when you use it. That totally frees you from that awful burden of trying to predict the future.
And this pay-as-you-go model brings some serious superpowers. First, agility. You can spin up a new server in a few minutes, not wait weeks for it to be delivered. Then there's elasticity. You can automatically scale up to handle a huge traffic spike. And then, just as importantly, scale right back down to save money when it's over. This leads to huge cost savings, because you're swapping those big, scary upfront costs for smaller, variable ones. And finally, global reach. You can deploy your app in data centers all over the world with just a few clicks. It's incredible.
So we get the concept, right? But it's so easy to think of the cloud as this abstract, kind of magical thing floating up in the sky. But here's the thing. It's not magic. It's very, very real. It's physical infrastructure. So what is it, and where is it exactly? Well, the answer lies in what AWS calls its global infrastructure. This is the actual physical foundation of the cloud, a massive worldwide network of super secure data centers that you can tap into whenever you want. So let's take a look at how it's all put together. AWS builds its entire global network around two core ideas. First, you have regions, which are just what they sound like, big geographical locations around the world, like Northern Virginia or Ireland. Then, inside each region, you have multiple availability zones, or AZs. You can think of an AZ as a cluster of one or more data centers, each with its own independent power, cooling, and networking. They're totally isolated from each other. And the scale here is just mind-boggling. We're talking about more than 120 of these availability zones spread across over 38 regions all around the globe. This massive footprint means you can place your applications really close to your users, no matter where they are, which cuts down on lag and makes everything feel faster. Now, this whole multi-AZ design is the absolute secret sauce for building applications that are highly available and fault-tolerant. Because they're isolated, if one AZ goes down, maybe there's a power outage or some other disaster, it's okay. Your application can just keep running from the other AZs in that region without missing a beat. It's a huge deal for reliability. Okay, so we've covered the what and the where. Now let's dig into the how. Think of this as a checkpoint on your developer journey. There are basically three main ways you can consume cloud services, and really understanding the difference between them is key to making smart choices for your projects. So these three main models, they each offer a different level of control and convenience. With infrastructure as a service, or IaaS, you're renting the fundamental building blocks, compute, storage, networking. You have maximum control. Then you have platform as a service, or PaaS. Here, you don't have to worry about the underlying servers or operating systems. You just focus on your code and deploying your app. And finally, software as a service, or SaaS. This is a complete product like Gmail or Slack that's run and managed for you. You just use it. Now, AWS offers over 200 services, which, yeah, that can feel pretty overwhelming when you're starting out. But here's the good news. To get started, you really only need to know a couple of the absolute most fundamental building blocks. So let's place these two services right at the very beginning of our AWS roadmap. First up is the real workhorse of AWS, Amazon EC2, which stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. To put it simply, an EC2 instance is a virtual server in the cloud. Remember that physical server in Sophia's office? This is the direct replacement for that, but it's 1,000 times better. It gives you raw computing power that you can resize, configure, and control however you want. And the second core service is Amazon S3, or Simple Storage Service. If EC2 is your computer, think of S3 as a virtually limitless hard drive in the cloud. S3 is what's called an object storage service. It means you can store pretty much any kind of file you can think of: images, videos, backups, archives, you name it. And it's designed for an insane level of durability, making it an incredibly reliable and cheap way to store your data. All right, so you get the concepts, you know the core services. The final piece of the puzzle is, how do you actually do anything? How do you tell AWS, hey, spin up a server for me, or store this file? Let's look at your main entry points. You've basically got 3 primary tools in your toolkit here. First is the AWS Management Console. It's a web-based point-and-click interface that's awesome for exploring and just getting started. When you're ready for automation and scripting, you'll move to the Command Line Interface, or CLI. This lets you control everything right from your terminal. And finally, to bring the power of AWS directly into your applications, you'll use the Software Development Kits, or SDKs, which are available for all the popular languages like Python, JavaScript, and Java. So, there you have it. We've walked through the fundamentals of AWS, from the problems it solves to the core services and the tools you'll be using as a developer. You've now got that foundational knowledge you need to really start your cloud journey. So the only question left is, which building block are you going to use first? This is Developer Roadmaps. Map your path, build your career.